Well, here we are again. Welcome to Paraphobia Radio, everybody. Happy Friday night. I am happy to be here with our second or third paranormal TV guest, which I cannot wait to have him on. But before we do that, I have two lovely people, which is the Shadow and Sean. How are you guys?
I'm doing fine.
I don't know who the hell you talk about lovely here, but
I know. I had such a moment I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Absolutely.
not too shabby.
Not
At
too
least she
shabby.
didn't call us ugly.
Well, why would we do that on live paranormal radio? See, then you made me freaking stutter. Oh my god, I can't. See, the twins out, I just can't. That's why they're here. They are the best, and that's all I can say. So, with that said, Shadow, you wanted well, before we do that, I would like to let everybody know we are part of Parapost Network, where you can add your broadcast to a very huge network, and Brian Lavely is the person in charge, and I am very happy to be part of that network. So if you want to sign up and add your broadcast to that network, I would highly recommend it, and talk to Brian Lavely, and he will hook you up with all that. And with that said, the Shadow, would you like to introduce our guest tonight?
Well, before we do our guest, we do have to announce that we will be participating.
Oh, Global Ghost Hunt.
Yep.
Damn, I forgot to end it. I'm sorry, Brian.
All right. But, I've started making some changes with the way this show works. So if you're interested in Parapost or Global Ghost Hunt, check out the description down below. You will find the link for both of these. And, yeah, some great people. They'll help you out. If you have a team, Global Ghost Hunt will help with that. They have people to take care of that. If you have a location, they have a department to take care of that as well. So check them out. And, let's get our guest on. Now, our guest, he's got quite a list on his sheet. And he is from Seekers Club of the Paranormal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Anthony Simonelli.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Happy that you are here. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. With that said, now I see you have a lot going on. Where would you like to start is tell us a little bit about how you got into the paranormal field.
Well, I started, the reason I got into it also is because ever since I was like about 3-4 years old, I started seeing shadows. And as I got older, I started hearing things and, seeing things in mirrors and everything. I had turned about 13 years old, somewhere around there. And I see my first full body apparition in the cemetery. And I was with a group of people and they all thought I was nuts. And, back in the 70s, away my age a little bit. And and they all was like, oh, what are you on drugs? This and that. They
always ask that problem.
What are you doing? What are you on? Give me some. But it ended up that really made me want to go. And I used to go in the cemetery at nighttime at the age of 13 by myself with a 35 millimeter camera and a compass, Boy Scout compass. That was my EMF meter back then. And dowsing rods. I made out old coat hangers, the old metal hangers. And that's how I started pretty much. Right. So that was pretty much my start with that. That's what got me. And then, of course, you just trying to prove to people you're not crazy all those years.
Yeah.
I mean, more and more into the investigations and everything. So.
Yeah. Trying being a gifted medium your whole life and then trying to explain what you do to people is not an easy thing. My family, my brother still to this day cannot believe that I can do what I could do because he can't believe that's coming from his sister. what did you just do?
And
I
he probably
told
has abilities too, and he just probably holds them back because usually
Yeah.
in the family have something, and a lot of people in the family just turn it off, or they don't want to be part of it, or they're just scared of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's they don't know how to handle something like
Mhm.
that. And they're like, am I going crazy? Do I need meds? Am I really seeing these things? Am I feeling these abilities? What do I do?
Mhm.
And, you know, I do as much as I can to be there for people who come to me and ask them for advice or giving them the knowledge and what they need to hear. So I totally get it on how he feels and where he's coming from. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So he doesn't understand it too. So that's more of a way and plus it's a way to tease his sister. So
oh, absolutely.
there's
What
another
else in
reason
there?
too.
So,
Yeah.
so at that young age, how did you deal with that? Being able to see and hear them.
See, my mother did believe me because she had the abilities, but back like when I was really young, that's early '60s, and my mother and people back then didn't talk about things like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless the whole family was spiritual, you know.
Right.
But my family wasn't. They, Roman Catholics, and of course you couldn't talk about it you know, when I went to Catholic school and everything, I couldn't talk about it in school. I couldn't talk about it a lot of places. So it was very tough because a lot of times I thought there was something wrong with me, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was crazy, and nobody else experienced these things. And when it came to that, I had nobody to actually talk to. So it was a lot of being scared, and then you go from scared to being mad, and then
Right.
like I'm going to find out, I'm going to prove one of these people wrong, type of thing. So, when I started talking about it a little more was in my teenage years, and friends turned on me and everything. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
a really tough path. It's not like now it's on TV. Back then it
Right.
wasn't talked about. And back then I had no idea who the Warrens were, you know,
Yeah.
and all these people that were on because it wasn't on TV. It wasn't if I
Right.
didn't see it on TV, I didn't know about any of this stuff. And
Nope.
of course, the
Exactly.
community I was in, we couldn't talk about it. So it was kind of rough with all that, because you're trying to, you want to believe you're not crazy, but it's like, well, there's something wrong with me all the time, and a lot of times, like you felt like people are a lot more, uh, how you say, like because they're not crazy and you are, so maybe you should step back and let them, do what they got to do, and you just shy back, So as
Mm-hmm.
I got older, I got a little
More into it. Yeah.
more into it and streetwise and everything else. So I started saying, you don't believe me, fuck off.
Hey,
Right.
yes, somebody cursed finally on this program.
You know,
I mean, during that time frame, he's right. I mean, people really didn't believe in a lot of that, and they did look at you like you're crazy during that era. Because I grew up in the '70s,
Mhm.
and they talked about it a little bit, and it started merging a little more in the '80s, and then by the '90s, it was coming full turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed like these paranormal movements kind of happened in waves. You look back at what was known as the spiritual movement, which took place in the late 1800s and the early
Mhm.
1900s. This is where you start to see figures like Harry Price come out, and he was the one who actually started to establish the idea of parapsychology and paranormal research.
Mhm.
But even then, with all of his scientific evidence, people thought he was nuts. Now, this is the guy who started off as a skeptic, but found out that there was more to it than what people were saying. Then the Warren came out, and then Hans Holzer, he was another big
Mhm.
one that was in the '60s and '70s. But with your experience, as how from when you start to now, how do you feel about the evolution of paranormal investigation? compare what it was like for you when you first started to what it is now.
No, I feel there are some devices out there that are more beneficial now, that I use now that I didn't use back then. But back then it was, hush hush, you couldn't talk about it. Now it's a little more. You can still talk. You could talk. You still got those people that are going to what are you doing and everything. They're going to pray for your soul because they think you're playing with devil stuff. And it's changed really. I think what changed it was in 2004 when the Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and even the Paranormal State, when those shows started coming out, it was like people oh, these are pretty cool. Oh yeah, and they started watching it and they started getting into it oh, people actually do this.
Right.
So I think that opened up the field a lot more, and I was happy that they opened up the field. But the field now is not as I thought it would turn out to be because not everybody cooperates with each other.
Right.
I figured the field
please.
if I have evidence, I would share with everybody. But these people, they're putting it into all these YouTube and all these different media, social media things, and some of the quality of the stuff that's out there, you do question because you're not sure if it's really what you think it is.
Right.
They're putting anything out there because everybody wants to be a TikTok or Instagram person that's going to be blown out of the water. And so now it's becoming more of a where we did it more for the research and our own satisfy us and share it with groups, and now it's becoming people thinking they're going to become some kind of superstar on these media things. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go. I'm sorry. No, you're fine.
No, but what I'm saying is that I think it's turning a little more that people should just stick to the research instead of thinking they're going to become some kind of show. They're going to get a show off of what they're doing or money or something. So I feel because all investigations from all private investigations we did for free. We don't charge nothing. Now there's people going in and charging money for these people, and they're not getting no satisfaction. A lot of the people I see out there. Yeah. So I think it got better because now we can speak about it more. But then I think that element that thinks they're gonna change it to make money for their pockets, just putting anything out there now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questionable stuff out there.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone, and we were actually talking about that, and they cut out a lot of things when it comes to paranormal TV. They don't want to, acknowledge the fact that there is actually real evidence when it comes to the field. There's real mediums that come to the field, and I really hate that they fake a lot of it. And it doesn't have to be fake. Be real with it, because there's a point in time where you're going to be having that oh shit moment where you're going to get real evidence and you're going to miss it, and then you're going to want to put it. It's a shame that they won't put that on TV, because for what I hear, they do cut out a lot of stuff, and it's not right to the paranormal investigator or the medium. Yeah,
it's not good for the research, because we want one day that some sort of maybe science will look into us and help us out trying to get our evidence and our research done. Because once you get something like that, you get grants and everything to help you out. But the way it looks now, it's getting to a point that people are just, looking for the almighty dollar in their pocket. It's not about the research. It's about what recognition they could get out of it.
Well, real quick, let me get some of our viewers on. We got
awesome.
We have Pam Harris.
Hey, Pam.
From 3 Line. We also have Lisa Marie.
Hey, Lisa.
If you ever want to talk about seriously creepy haunted dolls, this is the girl to talk to.
Mm,
And then we have.
that's me.
Oh, okay.
I was saying hi to
Sean.
everybody.
I was like, wait a minute, who is that?
Yeah, it was me saying hi back to everybody.
Well, hello back to you.
Hey, sure.
So yeah, you said that one of the things that you both were just talking about with television things being cut out, I find that one of the key elements that is left out in almost every paranormal show, the time. Research, you have to talk to people, you got to save up money for the travel. They don't understand that, and because they watch everything. They watch a 8 to 12 hour investigation in anywhere from a half hour to 1 hour. So much is taken out, and I think that kind of gives a lot of people the wrong impression about what a real paranormal investigator does.
Yeah.
How often have you had to try to explain that to some people that are just interested in getting into the field?
Well, when I do sit and I do give a talk, whatever, if I'm talking or speaking at an event or anything, and that's the first thing, because the shows sometimes they're 2-3 days.
Yeah, or 5 from what I heard.
And I got to work with some good investigators, that were on the shows. And one of them actually told me that that if the camera's going and the people, like say one of the characters on the show, whatever, sees something down the hall and they don't get it on camera, they will put like a shadow down there or something, so it'll be more for production. So but they'll say, well, he did see something, so we're just putting for network, So I mean, there's so much that on some of the shows out now too. You put the word paranormal in, I think they're going to be making a lot of money off them, and they'll put anybody on these shows, even if they're not even a paranormal investigator. So because the person has a name out in the market or whatever, or on TV,
right.
So that takes away from us also.
Yeah, it's the shower was saying that you gotta do research, you gotta do all of it, because when you walk into these locations, you don't know what you're dealing with, and if you don't know any knowledge of that location before you investigate, you're putting yourself in jeopardy and the person that you hire to investigate that location. And they don't seem to understand this. It's just not going out and doing something with a Gauss meter or a spirit box. There's a lot more to it. It's just be all over the field. Because what happens is you run into something that you don't understand. Oh shit, now I brought it home. Now you got me in trouble. But then they're going to be like, oh, we're not responsible for that.
That's true. And how many investigators, like I know in private locations, they go in really don't have too much experience, and they go in to see that like they're going to help somebody, and they record the whole thing. It ends up somewhere on TikTok or something, and they leave, and the person has now more problems because they stirred up a lot more stuff. And these people have their little show on whatever social media, and these poor people have all these problems happening. I've been to other places to help. I've been to places that I had to go in after a couple of teams went in there, and they did their stuff, and they stirred up a bees hornet. And then of course, I hook them up with other people if I need, somebody to cross them over, or need demonologists or whatever I might need, or whatever the family thinks they might need.
Right.
I think one of the worst things is when you got a team that goes in there and aggravates them, like you said, and then you got to come in there and clean up after it because not knowing what they brought in on top of what was there before.
That's right. And some families bring teams in that want to be on team. They want their house to or wherever they are, as so there could be a part of a maybe on a YouTube channel or something, and they call them in, and they stir up more stuff, and then these people are like, well, what did we do? But you knew what was going to happen by these people coming in, because they have cameras. They got all these fancy cameras and all this recording equipment. Doesn't mean that they're trying to help you.
Right.
You know, it's all about them. So it happens. You know.
Go ahead.
So. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, one thing that I've learned, this is something that I find equally disturbing, is not so much as, new teams getting in and messing things up, but sometimes there are people that, they're curious about the paranormal, so they kind of start messing around with things, and they bring something into their home. And a lot of times, it's not always, people think, oh, they must have had a Ouija board. Sometimes it's not so black and white like that. Sometimes it's they might have got an object from an antique shop. They might have purchased a house that had something shut down, and they brought something in that opened something back up.
Or they could have summoned something.
Yeah, and so I can't put all the blame on new investigators, but
no,
they sure as hell don't help.
No,
because
they'll go in there and they'll be like, this is his game, this is a joke. They'll start to provoke things because they've seen it on TV, and now you're putting the new investigators in jeopardy, and now you got a whole mess that you got to deal with. So,
attachments and everything else. I mean, working in the city, because I'm a retired electrician from Manhattan, so I worked at all different locations, and I was a union worker, so they put you wherever they're going to be, wherever the work is that day.
Right.
So, I mean, I brought stuff home with me from the subway. I worked to rebuild the Trade Center. Tower 4, I helped put up. Tower 1, I also did the security underneath the buildings. So,
oh my God,
there was a lot of stuff that would happen down there, and I still, I used to see stuff down there too. But things do follow you home sometimes. As much as I've been to some bad locations, and as much as you try to protect yourself with the stage and all, the prayers and everything, something eventually will follow you home too. And it could be from anywhere. You investigating in a cemetery, something might find you attractive or something that they could relate to you on you and follow you home. It could be almost anywhere. It doesn't have to be a cemetery, but it could be like a subway platform. It could be something on the street or anything, or old building that you might be at. So, I mean, anything. I know Lisa, you said, does dolls, haunted dolls. I know a lot of people with the haunted dolls and haunted objects. I know a ton of people that collect them, and possibility that they bring stuff home too. And people, you could buy a haunted doll, a so-called haunted doll, on Amazon. You type in haunted dolls, and this one's haunted, so you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do have to ask this real quick. Sorry, I gotta ask. You said you were a union worker.
Yes.
Do you know where Jimmy Hoffa is?
I'm Sicilian also, so there's no. I take the 5th.
Sorry, it's a smart ass me. Just had to get out that.
And my family were Teamsters. I'm a IBEW because I was an electrician. But I come from my whole family of Teamsters. So I don't know.
I mean, we've come across places when we've been on investigations where people's picked up things at thrift stores or antique shops that's got attachments to them, and you've had to deal with them too. Yeah.
Well, when I give when I do give a speech, and we talk about different things, and one of the speeches I gave is like something like that, and I use an example. There's a guy, he plays guitar. His guitar is his world. He plays in bands and everything, and he has his guitar. Now he passes, and the family doesn't want his guitar. It goes somewhere else. His energy is still connected to that guitar.
Right.
That was his life. So maybe it's not a bad haunting, but it is an attachment to that object.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the objects are not really haunted to hurt. I think they just want to show that we're here. We're still here.
Right.
So give us some recognition, So I look with the dolls and everything else. They might be haunted. They call them haunted because it sounds better than,
just a normal doll.
A doll that is going to be, there's, like I said, the possession it's still there, and it's not bad. It's not necessarily bad.
Right.
So that kind of leads me to a question. Sorry, Anna.
No, it's okay.
What's the strangest object that you've come across that has been causing activity in a house?
Oh, in the house? Okay. There's this thing at the Shanley Hotel.
I want to go.
The Shanley Hotel. Yeah, I've been. Matter of fact, I'm going to be going back there again. I love that place. I'm going to be doing a live show out of there too.
Nice. One place I want to go.
And they have this mask, and I was there. A group of us were there. My friend Ron Lourdes and John Zaffis was there, and Sam Baltrusis and a couple other people were there. And it was a group of us, and we were doing investigations and stuff like that night. And so Scotty, he's a medium, and he's pretty well known on the East Coast, I guess. But Scotty got this mask. Somebody gave him a mask of a clown.
No, that's where I draw the line.
And he had it in his box. And he took the thing out. As soon as it came out, I felt pressure on my chest.
Oh,
John Zaffis got up and goes, no. He walked out. So did Sam. Sam's a medium, and John's a demonologist. And I'm like, I felt the same thing. And the three of us just walked out, and it's like, what was that? It's a mask of a clown, and they have it on display there. But it was like the weirdest thing, how, the pressure, it was just like I felt pressure, like, oh,
Right.
And, so that was one of the weirdest things. I had a couple. Hinsdale, you ever go, Hinsdale House? Hinsdale, New York?
Yeah.
They had exorcism there in the 70s and everything else. And it's a little farmhouse. And
okay.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the exorcism go wrong at the Hinsdale house?
Well, it didn't
I
work.
heard that. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
It didn't really work.
Okay.
It's there was still stuff going on there because it has more than just a house. They did it in the living room in the house, and it's really the property and the land. That's really the stuff going on there. And now they're finding bodies on the property. So after all these years, I think they found like 6 bodies, and they think it might be Native Americans. I'm not sure how that is, but Dan the owner, he's a great guy, and he was telling us. I had him on my show. And he was telling us that they found these bodies, but at Hinsdale they have this old carriage there, and
right.
It's like one of those carriages from like the 60s, 70s, like with the big spring on it, the old type, big springs, and it was all metal and everything.
Yep.
So,
handwork, crafted, beautiful.
Yeah. And it's still around. It's better than some cars nowadays. But that was we were doing the Hinsdale houses, me and a group of my team, back then. And back then, we were doing 8mm cameras. It was not like today, everything's digital. It was the 8mm camera. So we had the camera in the corner facing the one room. And behind the camera, there's like under the staircase is like a little cove type of thing. They had a carriage in there with with a doll and a rocking chair next to it. So we're sitting on the chair. All of a sudden, we hear the camera shut off. You hear
Okay.
the click, and those
Right.
times you have to, there's a switch on top to on off and everything, and it switched off. So I go, what the hell was that? So I go over there and I checked it, and it was manually shut off because I switched it back on the battery. Everything was fine. So I'm standing there and I feel cold behind me. So I'm like, I said, I'm feeling cold. Maybe it's a portal or something. I'm feeling cold there. So one of the guys on my team, Joe, had one of those thermometers, and he shot it across the room. He goes, the temperature next to you is going down. Oh, that's crazy. I said, well, so I turn around and I see the carriage there. So I said, the carriage has a metal hand. So I figured it's going to get cold. So I said, I'm going to check. And I grabbed the carriage, and all of a sudden, an image of a woman in white and crazy hair pouring fluid on top of a baby. And throwing a match in this carriage. And I was like,
holy hell.
I freaked out. I'm not freaked out, but
Well, yeah, you had a reaction to it. Right.
Actually, this is the first and last investigation I ever walked out of. I walked out, but then I walked back. I came back in. But I walked out, and my brother comes out, and he's like, "You okay?" And I started telling him, and my eyes were like tearing and everything. And if you know me, I don't cry much. It's like, so I went back in because Hinsdale House is like 7 hours from me. I figure if I drove 7 hours,
hell.
I'm going to go back there and try, I'm going to go. And I go in there and I touch the carriage again. And, I was like reluctant to do that, but I figured I wanted to finish my investigation. That's how I am. I wanted to just get some answers.
Right.
And I actually seen the baby ashes. And it was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'd be like,
I don't know if you've seen that I do. Also, I do spirit art. What things?
Yeah,
I
saw some of that in your bio. Yeah.
Okay. So back then, that was happening 2015, 16. That happened. So I drew the picture back then, and I drew the carriage, I drew the baby, and I drew the woman. And last year, I Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I go there every year.
I go there every year as well. I love going there. I'm going to be there this year in July as well.
So I'll be there too. That's great. We have to have a beer and a cigar.
Absolutely. I usually do a table, but last few times I go there just to see my friends and help out a little bit. So I'm probably be doing the same thing this year as well. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
No, I mean I'm going to be there. We can hang out then.
Absolutely.
So I'm at a table, and Dan Hinsdale House table's next to me. So Dan's next to me, and I said, Dan, look, years ago I seen this in your house and I drew it. He goes, holy cow! He goes, that's the carriage. So what are you talking about? He goes, years ago somebody just left that on the doorsteps of Hinsdale House, and it was the person said that they bought it in an estate sale. It was an estate sale. They bought it, and the whole family seen a woman in white standing next to it. So they freaked out the family. So they left it for him. So he goes, that must be the woman that's seeing next to it, dressed in white. So it was like, it was good that he verified something I seen how many years ago.
Right.
And he was like, wow. And now I drew it. So not like I drew it after he told me. You can see it was before that. He goes, yeah, that's why they got rid of it, because there's a woman in white who was standing next to that carriage all that time. I don't know if there's anything that was burnt in it or anything, but I thought it was something that a woman in white that was seen by this carriage.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty, cool with the spirit art. What I do with that.
Yeah.
But
I find that very fascinating to draw spirits and everything else. I always find that fascinating that people has done that. So I think that's pretty neat that you could do that. So that's awesome.
yeah.
So I see that you have a lot here going on. Let's start with the documentary from 2023, Talking of the Unknown. What's going on with that?
That's the Staticom with Ron Jacobetti, Lourdes Gonzalez. You might have seen them if you were in Pittsburgh last year. They were there. And
who is it again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Ron Jacobetti, Lourdes Gonzalez.
Okay.
I don't know if I recognize those names.
And they also do it with a guy, a husband and wife team that's in Arizona, Tony and Sherry Rathman.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that name. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of he pretty much does everything on that coast.
Okay.
Okay.
So they did a documentary on Staticom, and I'm always with Ron and Lourdes. We're very close and everything. And they actually did, they did things that we went on, and they did this thing called this. It's called the digital seance, and Staticom is what they do, and it's nobody else doing this yet. It's just these two couples. They're the only ones doing it. Matter of fact, Ron and Lourdes got invited to England to show their stuff in September.
Okay.
Well, what they do is they have just white noise. It's just a white noise. It's not even from a radio. It's a white noise generator. It just does the white noise.
Huh.
And they feed it through. They have all these different programs that they feed it through.
Right.
And words come out. And white noise, there's no words or nothing in that.
No.
And it comes out. Well, we did this digital seance. And what they do is they hand the mic and people, they go walk, they hand the mic down and the person asks a question, like a seance type of thing.
Okay. So
they get to me and, because I do pretty much, I do all the camera work for them and stuff. So I hand my camera to Lourdes and I'm like, Ma, if you're here, have Cookie bark. Cookie was my childhood dog.
Oh.
All of a sudden you hear barks coming out of the speaker, woof, woof.
Right.
Everybody, there's 30 people in that room. Everybody heard it.
Wow. That's cool.
Holy hell.
And next to me, matter of fact, we talked about Shanley. The owner is Shanley Kelly, and the was sitting next to me, and Tracy, and they were when they videotaped me. I'm like, whoa! And you should have seen their faces, like what? Like, because it was so amazing that I asked for a dog bark because everybody's asking for family to come.
Spirit, right? Yeah.
And a barking and a dog barking came through. So I'm part of that, and also I talk to them and I, tell how the spirit. Because I've been working with Ron and Lourdes for a long time, before now with all the spirit com and stuff. So I gave a little talk on that. So yeah, it's interesting how everything came full circle for them, and and the way it works out now. And matter of fact, that's on Paraflix. You can see that documentary on Paraflix.
Yeah, I would definitely check that out for you and see how that go how it is.
It's like a docu-series, I think they call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, I see you got a lot more going on here in the paranormal TV world. I don't know where to get started.
I know it's a long list.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I hate doing that.
No, it's great. It gives me a chance to ask you quite a few things.
I'm trying to tap myself on the back, but I don't know what to
You know
put
what?
in
You
there
should.
Anybody.
You should.
No,
here, I'll try to help you out there. I see that you worked with Brian and Chris.
Brian and
Kano.
Oh,
and
Brian
Chris
Kano.
Desiree.
Yeah, we did a book. There was a book. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you the book. There's a book about paranormal pets. So I might get right there in the camera.
Oh, I have to grab that. There you go.
And the proceeds for this book all went to the, what do you call it, Staten Island Hope Animal Research. And it's a shelter that's a non-kill shelter. So all the money that this book was actually sent to the shelter, you know. So we'll have this book, and they were selling at the Para Unity. I mean, there's a bunch of people in here. John Zaffis, he did the stuff on here, and Brian Cano and Chris DeCesare. There's a bunch of other
he's
people.
Great.
Yeah,
Chris is a really good friend of mine, and I have met Brian doing Penhurst and a bunch of other events, and he is a sweetheart. So when I saw that you was working with the two of them, I was like, wow, small world.
Well, this book is got to do with how our pets came back after they were gone, how we had experiences with our pets, which I had a pet, Cookie. I just mentioned Cookie.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And Cookie's my story in here. And Cookie was my dog. I got her when I was like 2 years old. And I had her for like 18 years.
Yeah.
And my one experience I had in the book that Cookie, well, they had to put Cookie down because she had cancer. So
right.
And so they had to put it down. So I couldn't go with them and stuff like that. And, well, Cookie was a barker. That's why I asked for the bark done for the Staticom. But one night after Cookie was gone, and we lived in a 2-family house in Glendale, Queens. I lived on the top floor, and the top floor, my bedroom was I was the oldest, so they stuck me in a room in the corner of the house, you know, get me away from everybody. So it was like a little room, and it was above the stairs, and downstairs was the entrance and everything. So one night, I heard barking. I was like, Cookies was dead, but maybe a couple months already.
Right.
You know? And so I get up and I start walking. I go down the stairs. I turn the lights on. And I hear something in the front door. And what the hell? So I open the front door. I find a crowbar. Somebody's trying to break into our house.
Wow.
And Cookie's barking is what woke me up. And I thought that was, wow. One of those, how she still was protecting us even when she was gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Years.
Wow. That's crazy.
It looked like somebody opened the door and stuff like that. It was, wow. And when I turned on the light, that's when the guy, whoever it was, took off.
That's crazy.
That's one of I had a couple of those other stories in there too. But I thought, you know, that's, you know.
Yeah, I would definitely have to pick that up for you and definitely take a look and read through it. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So that was there's a bunch of other people in here. You know, some I know, some I don't. Some are just people that friends of the author of the book, the editors and stuff like that. Because they came up to me, I was at Para Uni. I actually got to sit down in Para Uni and sign my autograph. That was like the first time I felt like a big shot.
Well, it feels good. You accomplished something, you know. It's not that you're a big shot, but, you know, you worked really hard for that and somebody's appreciated of it, you know. So I would feel the same way. Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Facebook user, reveal yourself or
just got home.
That's David Jarvis.
Oh, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for stopping in. Oh, just got home. Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow. You know, you never, with the whole thing with the paranormal and supernatural and, people are so into the whole monsters and Bigfoot, and they don't bring up a lot when it comes to spirit animals. And I have noticed that since you have brought it up. You would really think, with so much going on in this field, that when people lose their pets, they would want to look into it and their spirit's still here, but they don't, because they're grieving so bad that they don't even think about that. And it's crazy that nobody really thinks about their spirit animal or animals in general that passed away. They're ghosts too, just like we are. So it's really crazy how sometimes some people really do, leave that topic out when it comes to paranormal field. So
I even have drawings on Summer Mansion. I was there talking to the person who opened up for us, and I'm standing there talking to her, and I'm on the back steps, and the door's open. I see a dog walking down towards us, and then walking to one of the rooms. So I'm like, "Do you have a dog here? It's white with like black spot on it and on the tail and stuff." She goes, "No, that's the spirit of that's a dog that's here of the general, because it was a general that lived there."
Right.
And I'm like, "Whoa!" And I actually seen that thing walking like a regular dog coming down. It didn't look it wasn't clear or anything. It was like full, and it was like, "You have a dog?" I also seen a cat there too. I drew that too, and yeah, there are all plenty of spirits of animals that people don't realize. And sometimes they think it might be a child or something in a location. And it could be just an animal that's left behind there.
True.
Yeah.
I believe all that stuff.
Absolutely. You have to, because anything goes in this paranormal field. It can be anything, pretty much.
The spirit, Bigfoot, a ghost of a Bigfoot somewhere walking around,
Seriously, they're still trying to discover that. Get over it. There's no Bigfoot. I mean, I can't really say that. Yeah. Sorry, whoever believes in it. I apologize.
Well, I do believe in something. I do believe there might be something with it.
Right. Yeah, you can't say, "Oh, well, it's not there."
I mean, I'm in a paranormal field. I could be dismissed very, very quickly, also.
Right.
By them. So, I do look at, and even the people that are into like the UFOs and stuff like that, and
yeah, that's really cool.
So
I don't want them.
I've actually seen one. Yeah. I actually seen one when me and my daughter was coming back from Dahinda one day, and it actually flew over County 10. It was the weirdest thing you ever seen. And we tried to chase it, and we got it down to not far from where I live, and we lost track of it. And it's just like it just disappeared.
Wow. Yeah.
And then about 2 years later, I heard that another town, black cars were following it, and that was the same thing I described, and in another neighboring town as well, and they were following it.
It's something, and the stories you hear on that, because I deal with a lot of the people. I have a lot of people on my show also that do all these different, research. That's why I go into the supernatural, because that covers everything from spirits to UFOs, everything. And so every story I hear, people are so, I had experience also when I was a kid, but people that really believe, they're so dedicated to it. And it's something how they see something, they know what they've seen, and that's it. There's no way of saying, no, you didn't see it.
Right.
That's with the paranormal. Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Nope, you go. I've been asking a lot. It's your turn.
Well, so one of the things that I, when you mentioned about your 8mm being turned off manually, I often find that sometimes, the new technology that we have, a lot of them are really nice, but they're electronic. And I feel like sometimes these things can be manipulated, or that, with cell phone apps, you're connected to the internet, you're connected to GPS, whatever. I myself have an old Canon camera that took the whole 35 millimeter film. And sometimes I feel like the older tech it gives more validation, because the amount of energy some spirits have to be able to turn off or switch a physical object, it's got to be impressive. Whereas, I've noticed sometimes with cell phones, you get in a place that's got too many cell phone signals, your phone starts getting weird. So, what would you tell somebody when it comes to equipment? Would you recommend somebody saying, you might want to check out some old school equipment? Or would you just kind of leave that for the more seasoned investigators?
I mean, people coming in, and I always tell them, and, I do tell them they, when they first get in, not to spend so much money on equipment. So a lot of people come in, buy all this expensive equipment, and then they see one spirit, and then they don't do it no more. They're out of the field. They just come in like, oh, I see it now, I'm scared. But, with this technology now with cell phones, I still think that, I tell them not to get too much into getting equipment. You got a recorder on your cell phone. You also got a camera.
Yep.
You don't have to go deep, and you can investigate any time of day. You just have to be night, all right? And you can do any time. And with the old equipment, I still use the old cassette tapes. Of course, I got all the modern ones also. I got all the all the regular digital recorders and stuff. I got more than that. I got more recorders that cost more than my car. So, I still use that, but I do like the old cassette players. Because now with technology, yes, things can be manipulated a lot easier now on technical wise. They could put something. Look, I have this little app on my cell phone that I could take a picture of you, and I can make you singing 10 minutes later on that picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it looks like you're singing. So
right.
These technologies can be manipulated now. So like the old stuff, see the old 35 millimeter films, I liked also, but then what you have is also negatives. All you need is a little dust on that negative or hair from the person developing. Now it looks like like something too. So everything, even back then, things can manipulate. If you don't want something, like I started, dowsing rods, you get a pendulum if you want, or a compass. Go back old school. You could have the new school stuff, but go old school stuff. Because I'm very big with trigger objects. I like trigger objects.
Right.
So I don't know if you can see in the background behind my thumb. That's a Teddy Ruxpin.
Okay.
And when you squeeze it, it talks. I bring that. If you never know what's going to bring a spirit. So if you're going to go with old and new together, sometimes it's not bad, But if you're going to go old school and you want no dowsing rods, I would go with, because there's nothing really that could manipulate that. Well, it's depending if the person is doing them wrong.
Right.
Even the pendulum. So it's really the credibility of the person. And a lot of times I tell people when they the best piece of tool in your toolbox on investigation is your own intuition. What you're feeling.
Very true.
So what you're feeling is your own, somebody else might not believe it, but your own intuition. That's the best thing to have.
Well, since you said trigger objects, I actually have one that Bob Christopher and has made. I don't know if you met him at the bash with him and Gina.
I'm friends with Bob. I know Bob.
Yeah, Bob is
He was on my show a couple
awesome.
weeks ago. Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, him and Gina, they make trigger objects, and I actually have one of his dogs.
The dog. Yeah.
Yep.
After the show, after my show, he sold 2 dogs and a cat.
Mm-hmm.
People they on the show, there's people like, oh, that's so cool, because I want to get him to make me one too.
Go ahead.
I just have a real quick story. Since people have been talking about spirit animal, and you have a trigger dog. There's a cemetery not far from where I live, and it had a veteran from the War of 1862 buried there. So it's an old cemetery.
Wow, 62. That's Civil War.
Yeah, and one of the most interesting things I found about this place is the cemetery is at the end of a residential road, and then it kind of juts out in like a little mini peninsula in a lake. Well, on that street, somebody had a black cat, and his name was Spronky. And every time Tom and I would go there and investigate, Spronky would show up. You know, and he'd let us pet him. You know, he'd walk with us and stuff. Well, he died.
Oh.
And they put a little memorial for him at the cemetery gate when you first pull in.
Mm-hmm.
But several months later, Tom and I were pulling into the cemetery, and sure enough, there's a black cat walking through the cemetery.
What?
Yeah.
That's
so same size as Spronky. So
that's so cool.
That's creepy. That's creepy.
No, I'm open to the possibility that there's another black cat in the neighborhood, but
right.
You know, a lot of people don't have black cat because of superstitious belief. So
I have 2.
That's one of those situations. But seeing that black cat, we stopped the car, we were looking, and we looked at each other like, "You see that cat? Yeah." Get out of the car. Let's go.
When it crosses your path, that's a whole different story.
That's when you get the cameras out and start clicking. That's when the cell phones come in. Just boop, 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 boop.
Yep. Absolutely. They are the best. They do everything.
So,
Tom had his phone hooked up to his car. Mine was buried deep in one of my pockets because I have this like tactical vest, you know, and had I thought about that, I would have gone for it, but it would have been like 10 minutes to where is it?
I would have been gone anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you don't think right away. How many times you do an investigation and you break down at the end of the night, and all of a sudden the activity starts up again, and like, what the hell? There's no cameras. There's nothing here to record it. You know? So sometimes the best stuff happens when there's no cameras. But that's pretty cool with the cat. I like stuff like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Aaron, it looks like we have one of our viewers has a question there. It says,
okay.
Anthony, have you ever been to the house in Connecticut?
I've been to a house in Connecticut, but not a house in Connecticut. Which house? Do they know?
Maybe she's talking about Johnny Saffis Museum. Is that what she's talking about?
No, I haven't been to John's Museum yet. But if you're talking about the Conjuring House, that's in Rhode Island. That's past Connecticut. I've been there a couple of times. Conjuring House.
The Parent Family Home.
Yeah, that's Parent Family Home. That's Rhode Island. That's Conjuring House. It's they call it House on Round Hill. And a matter of fact, I was just there. When was it?
Or maybe at the I know there was another house that was investigated by the Warrant, and it was for the movie
Amityville,
Connecticut. No, Amityville is Long Island over here. It was a house in Haunted Connecticut. They made that movie, Haunted Connecticut. Haunting in Connecticut, and that was one of the Warrens' things. No, I haven't been to that house, but We are working our way up and down the coast there. You know, so it's haunting. Yeah, haunting Connecticut. Yeah, no, I haven't been there. Yeah, the Warrens did go, but they didn't. You know, like they said they refused, but they were there. John Zaffis, John Zaffis is Ed Warren's nephew.
Yes.
I mean his mom is twins with Ed Warren. His mother is a twin with Ed Warren. That's
Okay.
John. But
Yeah.
no, I haven't
The
been to the
King
one in
of
Connecticut.
Paranormal.
The one at the Conjuring House, John was with us, and we got a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, that's insane. For what I heard.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, it was good. It's good. I like the location, but it's the whole location. There. Matter of fact, the night we got there, the night before, that's when they said there was UFO overhead. Somebody seen the UFO.
Gotcha.
What?
Yeah. So it's a
That's
nice
crazy.
piece of land there. But I can tell you about it. When I went, I came back. I did have an attachment. It was sucking the life force out of me. Had a big ass tick on my leg.
Jesus.
It was a big tick. I was like, where the hell he come from?
Mm-hmm.
That was my attachment from there. It was a tick sucking the life out of me.
Oh God.
Yeah, but that place it's awesome. Yeah. But the
Well-
one in Connecticut, I'll probably end up getting there. That's if it's still investigate there. You're allowed to. A lot of places that you see on these shows, you can't investigate because you're private resident, like the Amityville.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just, I mean, that's like an hour from me.
Well, there's also an Amityville house in Tom's River too. There's two of them.
There's another house in Tom's River.
There's two locations on the Amityville that I think one filmed and the actual house is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or-
The actual house, the Amityville house, I've been outside of. I've been out that area. But
That's awesome.
They're the cops are very strict there. They do chase you.
Wow.
Because
Well, yeah.
it is a private resident, and Amityville is that area. It's money, so they don't
Right.
riffraff like me running around.
Well, we are about that time, unfortunately. Wow, that was a fast hour.
That was.
Yeah, it's an awesome hour. So do you have anything coming up in the future that you would like to share? Any events, any TV shows that if you want to bring on or say?
Tomorrow I'm going to be Morristown. It's Morristown, New Jersey. It's they have a bunch of events going on. Like it's like their what is it? Morristown. Oh man, I just went blank. I just got with the senior citizen forgetting stuff. But it's in Morristown. They have these different locations of old buildings, and we're going to be at one of them tomorrow. We're going to check it out. I would tell you the name of it, but it's this big German name, and it's crazy.
Right.
I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be at Penhurst.
I love Penhurst.
Penhurst. I'm going to go be there for the Paracon. I will be at the Penhurst Paracon. I'll be at Gettysburg. I'll be at the Para Unity in New Jersey.
Okay.
New Jersey Para Unity. I'll be at
I've been there quite a few times. Yeah, I always wanted to go to Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. I'll be at Sleepy Hollow and Massachusetts Paracon.
Wow.
I'll be at all those, and in between, like I said, I don't do home events anymore. I just do these locations with. We do like a lot of stuff to help locations like these old buildings to get money and stuff. We're doing So I got so much stuff if I don't have it in front of me. It's called the Public House, and that's in New Jersey. Public House, and that's another event that we're doing. I just did a couple events recently. Last week I was out. So I mean, it's. I just go. People come in and call me up and say, "Hey, you want to go here?" And I say, "Okay."
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to a point that people invite me, which that's the coolest thing,
Yeah, it always is.
Instead of sitting there and trying to get all the investigation yourself, but
Yeah,
so they
that's
invite me
awesome.
in these
Well, good
different,
for you. Good for you.
So that's
awesome.
But I gotta get you guys on my show.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'll be right there. You don't have to ask twice.
That's the only thing. My show's on Thursday nights.
That's okay. I can be flexible.
Okay.
Right?
As long
Right,
as it's
guys?
not Sunday.
Yep, we can.
Yeah, we don't do Sundays. That's kind of like a night off. Family time and
Yeah.
all that other stuff going on before the week starts.
I love my family in Italian.
Yep. Well, I wish I had something like that, but I have something like this. Yeah, you can't see it. Yep.
Yeah, I got a bunch of these things all over me.
I have one in
We're
the back.
not going to do a tattoo show off, are we?
I know I might take it off and turn around.
This is gonna be the second. This is gonna be the second part of the show.
Yeah,
I've got 3, so
I'm gonna get another one.
I've got a shiny dragon on one side of my arm, then I've got a tribal black flame on the other. I've got tribal black flame that comes up my shoulder and on my neck. I've got a skull with bat wings, an old one. I've got
That's
Da
what
Vinci
I'm getting.
portrait over here. I've got a Japanese kanji for married on the back of my neck. I mean, yeah.
I got Betty Boop.
He's
there you
got
go.
Betty Boop. All right. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I'm trying to.
Oh.
There it goes.
You should put this rated on.
So far, I'm just simple. I got my daughter's zodiac sign and my zodiac sign, and then I got a tribal wolf down my
Yeah, we got them all over. Yeah, it's like arms. Anywhere this thing, wherever there's skin, you start throwing tattoos on.
Yeah, I got a
They
big
all have
one back
meaning.
here.
Well, see, this is what I don't talk about because it's not the best tattoo. But I have a female dominatrix with her boob exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have the joke that I would put my finger on each side of the boobs and pull the skin, and look, she's doing a little, booby shake. The problem is that now that I've gained weight, her boobs have gotten a little too big.
Were they hanging down to the knees now?
Yeah. At least they're not hanging down to the knees. So.
Oh.
So.
All right, so I will end it at that note.
Always ending it with the saggy boobies. It's great.
Why not, right? It's a Friday night. Let's go. Where's the drinks? Sean, do you want anything to ask before we end the show tonight?
No, I think we covered quite a bit tonight.
All right, just want to double check and make sure everybody had their questions in there. And
well, I'm sure we all have more questions, but we'll
I got tons.
Get you back on for another episode.
Yeah, I got tons.
Yeah,
I think we have to start doing a 2-hour show now instead of an hour. I noticed because it starts to go a little bit further. I was like,
well, that means
there's an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start at 8 instead of 9.
Yeah. I don't know why I picked 9.
7:30 to 9:30. We got a 2-hour show, and it goes like 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's only 9 o'clock where I'm at.
It's now 10:05 where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I'll be up. It's Friday night. I'll be up. I just finished my first Red Bull of the night. So
awesome. That's
Yeah,
usually what I take when I'm on investigations to stay awake.
Yeah.
Red Bull and candy.
I just got to get my gear together for tomorrow. I mean,
that's awesome.
To Morristown and do investigations out there. That's great.
All right.
So
well,
I don't want to keep you guys anymore. I could talk.
It's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
More than welcome.
So what we'll do is we'll put you in the back room and just hang out there real quick. And like I said, after the show, we'll talk about, what happened from here and getting you connected with Paraphobia's page so you can share your stuff and let more people know about it.
Yep.
Yeah. I know
and
how
I'll
a bunch of people ask me about how they're going to see this and everything. So,
okay.
Yeah, well, yep. And then there is something else that I can talk to you about after the show, and that's about having you meet Brian Laverty and maybe streaming sharing your podcast on Parapost Network, because it's a growing network. There's a lot of people on there.
Yeah, we're on there as well.
Cool.
All right. Well, like I said, I'll put you in the back room. Hang tight. We'll close this out, and I'll talk to you in just a second.
Okay, great.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for coming by.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And thank you, everybody in the audience, for listening.
You're
welcome.
Gibberish.
All right. Oh, sorry. What was that?
Forget about it.
Forget about it. See what you did?
Hey, ciao.
No.
All right. All right.
Wow.
Well, definitely a great show.
Another good show, guys.
Yep, absolutely.
And
Second
we'll
show
definitely
in a
have
row.
to get him back
Yep.
on again.
Absolutely. He was great. I wanted to ask him so much more, but it was like, damn, can't.
Yep.
So, yeah. So
Yeah,
I think
we'll start earlier, We'll get 2 hours in.
So maybe we'll do a update on the page and let everybody know there will be a possibility that we now may make it an hour and a half or 2 hours the way this has been going. Because it seems like once people start getting into it, it's like it starts taking, which is a good thing. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't mind. But I want to
Time
make
flies
sure.
by.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
mostly.
great job, you two, as
Thank you.
always.
I definitely think, when all three of us get to talk and then the flow just keeps going. So I think it's a really good
Vibes. Yep. Absolutely. Very good connection.
All right. Any quick shout out or last shout out that you want to do, Anna?
Absolutely. Please look out. I will post a link on. I do own a business on Etsy. I do make any types of candles, your little heart's desires, and there will be a new line coming out very soon. So I will post a link onto this page and other pages, and please take a look out for that. They're amazing candles. I know I had some people out from New York from a ghost group who has purchased them as well. They love them. So take a look. You if you want Pacific candle, I don't mind making that certain candle of what you need. Just ask away and you'll receive. So go and take a look at that link, and I hope to see you guys enjoy those candles.
All right, Sean.
Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central on the Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal, we have Jamie Lynn Keller from Party Paranormal. And in about an hour, I'll be co-hosting with Pam Harris on Serene Divine.
Awesome.
And, you can find me here with these two guys, and I appreciate you guys letting me join your team here.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. You do an excellent job.
All right. As for me, I do have a graphic design business. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I'll announce it after you're done. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I do have a graphic design business, Breakaway Media. So if you're looking for logos, book covers, promos, whatever, you can find me on Facebook, and I will also get that link in the Paraphobia page. But the only link that is missing from the link down below is Anna's Candle Shop and Breakaway Media. But you can find, as I mentioned before, Parapost, Global Ghost Hunt, Eternal X Wolfpack, Paraphobia on both Facebook and YouTube. All those links are in the description. And if you go to the Facebook page for Paraphobia, we will get Anthony's Facebook page link up there as well, so you can check him out and show him some support. And what did you want to say?
Before I forget, I do have an announcement to keep you all in your seat. We do have a new guest coming March 8th. I'm not gonna say who it is. I'm gonna, make your brains explode until the flyer comes out. The flyer will be coming out, I guess, this weekend. At some point, we'll have it out. But it is another Paranormal TV guest, and I can't wait to have him here. And you just have to wait and see who it is.
All right.
All done.
All right.
I just wanted to add that in.
The suspense.
Yeah. All right. So, only one way to close this out: be smart, be safe out there, and be kind to one another, because you never know, your one act of kindness might change somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, stay spooky.